Hello everyone and welcome to my PvE Templar Healer build. This build is especially made for veteran trials, but you can easily heal every other content with this as well. Let's start with the race. I always choose High Elf because of the region, but you can also have Breton, Argonian or Dunmer. Now to the gear. On the big pieces I use infused with 3 enchants, chest, legs and helmet. And on the small ones I have Divine, Max Magica, waist, shoes, gloves and shoulders. 3 enchants is pretty nice because you also gain some stamina and health, while you don't lose too much Magica. On the jewels I always put 2 cost reductions and 1 region. Now to the sets. There is one main set, Spell Parkour. Both healers need that, because it decreases the damage of your group members. Make sure to have 5 armor pieces of that. Then there are different trial sets like Worm Cult. This is very important now because they nerfed Sustain. It reduces the cost of your magic abilities for everyone in the group, even for yourself. So make sure you also have the jewels and 2 armor pieces because you need it on both bars. The next one would be Master Architect. This is the new set from the new trial. It's also a damage boost. It gives the buff Major Slayer. Make sure to have the jewels and 1 armor piece. And Master Architect Lightning Stuff. Decisive if possible, with Weakening. If you don't have Decisive, you go with Infused Crusher, like in my case. If you have the stuff, you can slot the monster set, like one with Max Magica or Kina for spell damage, like whatever you prefer. The other one would be Mending. This is pretty strong. If you stack a lot of trash or on hard modes, it reduces the incoming damage for a huge amount. So make sure to have the jewels as well and 2 armor pieces, because you need it on both bars. For all of those setups, you always slot Master Resto Infused. This is, in my opinion, the strongest Resto stuff. If you don't have Infused, you can also go Powered. And for Mending and Worm Cult setup, you use Decisive Master Lightning. If you don't have this one, you can also go with a charged VMA or charged Master Stuff. Like both traits are good. Let's check the skills. Breath of Life, you shouldn't miss that, it's the strongest healing game in my opinion. Just like Healing Springs is also very good. It's AoE heal. It also restores Magica to you. Just make sure that all of your group members always stand in it if possible, so you don't have to waste Breath of Life just for one person. Inner Light, I always start it because of the Max Magica. The Purge, in some fights you really need Purge. For example, on the 1st and 4th boss in the new trial. If you don't need it, you can slot whatever you want, like a shield, Harness Magica if you need it, or something else. Combat Prayer, both healers need that. It increases the damage of your group members. Always keep it up, it only affects 6 people, that's why both healers need it. The Nova, sometimes it's good to have a Nova. Depends on the situation, it reduces the incoming damage for quite a lot. But usually you use Warhorn, the other ulti, on your back bar. This one is very good. Usually 2 tanks and both healers have it in group, so it should never run out. So you have that rotation. It increases max stats and also major force. We also have Blockade of Storm on the back bar. That's good for the off balance and minor vulnerability. If Didis have it in your group, you don't need to slot it, but it's also a good damage skill for yourself. Elemental Drain is only needed on 1 healer. It applies minor Magica still, so it should never run out on bosses. Also put it on big adds, and sometimes if there's a lot of trash, just put it on some of them. It also debuffs the enemy with Major Breach. Ritual of Retribution or Extended Ritual, choose whatever more feel like better. This one is a bit stronger, but it runs out quicker. It does a bit of damage, it heals more than the other morph, and it also cleanses. It's also good to keep up Spell Power Cure set. Luminous Shards is a must-have. It restores Magicka and Stamina to the one that synergizes the spear. It also does a bit damage for yourself. Channeled Focus is very nice this patch. It restores Magicka to yourself, and it also gives a bit of resistance. There are also other useful skills like Puncturing Sweep. Those are good for the dungeons, also Vet DSA for example, maybe not for the trials. If you don't have a Templar DD in your group, one of the Templars need to use a Dawn's Wrath ability for the passive to have minus sorcery up all the time. So whatever you like, maybe Purifying Light, Unstable Core, Reflective Light, or even the Beam. So just make sure like one in your group have a Dawn's Wrath ability skill. For the attribute points, it's good to have like 18k health for trials. So in my case I have 53 in Magicka and 11 in health. So you have to see what's best for yourself. The Mundus Stone I have Atro for the Magicka recovery. I always use this one. In this patch it's even more important to have more regen. Now to the champion points. The green one, we have Arcanist, 75, that's a must, and 75 Tenacity if you want. It can be a bit less, but I usually put 75 in there as well. Warlord to break free, 29 points in there. It's good for the new trial, you have to break free a lot there. It's also good to have a bit more stamina. The rest is in Shadow Ward, 31. We used to stack a lot of trash, so we have to block a lot as well, so that's why so many points in there. On the green one we have Blessed for sure, 75 points. You don't need 100, like 75 up to 100 is only 1%, so you can spend them somewhere else. Elfborn 52, Spell Erosion 5, L-Expert 37. Those are for you to have a bit more damage, because you also use damage skills like Blockade of Storms, Spear, Ritual. Also Master at Arms 18 and Thaumaturge 23. So you also do a bit more damage than just healing. There we have Hardy Elemental Defender, 43. Those are not that important like Thick-Skinned and Ironclad, because they have more points, it goes up to 25, and Hardy and Air Defender just up to 15. That's why you put more in here, 56, Spell Shield 20 and 48 Thick-Skinned. Now we have the food. I use Witch Mother's Potent Brew. It gives a lot of Magicka recovery, but not that much Magicka and health than the food buff. But this doesn't matter, so that's why I put some attribute points into health, because 319 Magicka recovery is quite a lot. For the potions, I always use the Essence of Spell Power. It gives you more spell power, spell crit, and it also restores Magicka. I'm going to talk about skills and what's important for healers a bit. Like as a healer, you don't only heal, you also buff and debuff, which is also important, or support the group in any way. Like as a healer, it's very important that you know what's going on, like when is a lot of damage incoming, like when you have time to buff, when you need to heal a lot. That you learn only when you play the trial, for example, or the dungeon. You have to see it several times and just remember what's going on. Like, it's also important to keep up like combat prayer buff. It's one of the most important skills for a healer. It heals quite a lot as well. So if you want to heal and you see that everyone is in front of you, like stacked pretty nicely, you can also use combat prayer then, like healing springs, for example. It's 8 seconds, just recast it again after 8 seconds. It's like Blockade of Storm, make sure it never runs out, it debuffs. It's 8 seconds as well, it's easy to see. Maybe not that easy in trials because there's a lot of AoE on the ground. But just make sure it never runs out. It's also a good damage skill for yourself. Like the Elemental Drain, it's more than 20 seconds, it's easy to keep up. It should never run out on bosses, it debuffs, it also gives back magicka to everyone, even to yourself, if you hit the boss then. And also keep it up on big adds. And if there's a lot of trash, just put it on some mobs as well. Retribution, it should never run out as well. It heals, does a bit of damage and cleanses. It also keeps up the spell power cure bonus. The spears are quite important this patch. We dropped the orbs. Spears are much easier to synergize, much easier to aim at some people. You don't always have to drop it on the bosses. It's like if someone is dead, you can hit it there, like so dead body, if he revives or she, can synergize it to get resources back. So just make sure that it's always around somewhere. The channeled focus is pretty nice this patch as well, because you have to sustain, it gives back magicka. You also get some resistance, which is pretty nice because we only use 7 light armor pieces. Also the horn, make sure that it's always up. There are 4 people using it, 2 tanks and 2 healers usually. Call it out in raids, so you know when you have to use the next horn. So it should never run out. And yeah, it also buffs the whole group. It's a pretty nice ulti. I hope this helped you guys a bit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask below. Or check out my build on Tamir Foundry. And I hope to see you soon.